For the web reader, we begin by clicking on a file that would be a Pages file or an HTML file. When we click on the tab, you will notice that you have your Listen button. If you hover on the top where it is orange and click, you can drag it around to where you want. When you click the arrow pointing to the right, it expands the controls. Now it will start playing from the very beginning, so I'm going to just highlight a little bit. Click Listen.
Knowing where to find learner support is essential.
I can pause it by clicking the pause button, and the pause button is the two vertical lines. And I can stop it completely by clicking the stop button. I can also fast forward through the information by using this slide bar as it is playing.
Essential to your success on our own, but that is.
So notice that it did fast forward. I have the volume button that can be adjusted with the slide control, and download this page as an MP3. Now the page might scroll very long, that's okay. It will still be an MP3 as a single MP3. You have to say that you're using this for your studying. And then it says where do you want to put it, and I'm going to call this Learner Support. And I'm going to put it on my desktop. So I now have an MP3 sitting on my desktop. When I click the X, it will collapse this bar. We also notice we have a caret in the lower left-hand corner. When I click on that caret, I have a lower toolbar. Let's begin with Settings. In Settings, I have a slide bar to show how fast or slow I want to listen to my document. If you're accustomed to screen readers, you may want to push it up faster. If not, you may want to have it a little bit slower. You can choose your text highlighting, word, sentence, and text color as before. You can also change your font size. Notice it is not in pitches, it is in a -1 to +4. I'm going to choose a +2. I'm going to choose the OpenDyslexic font, and instead of black on white, this time I'm going to choose black on light yellow. And I can choose scrolling or not, and if we're playing around with this and don't remember our original ones, we can restore to the original. And I click Close. You notice we don't see any changes in our document, but we made changes to our settings. We have to go to Simple View, which is similar to Text View in our doc reader. When I do this, I now see my document. Notice we have the light yellow background, the OpenDyslexic font, and you can see the information. You can play this, and when you click play, it would change to a pause. Stop it would stop it completely. I can enlarge the font, or I can shrink the font. Click close to stop it. Now, just so you can see the pink background, I'm going to go down here and choose black on light pink and show you that background so you can see the different colors. If you have multiple languages, this next icon is the reading language, and you would choose it. Make certain you choose the language that the document is written in. If you choose Spanish and the document is in English, then of course what is going to happen is that the English document would be read with a Spanish accent. It's not going to translate it. But if you had a Spanish document and you chose Spanish, then it would read the words with the correct pronunciation. Our next icon is Read on Hover, and Read on Hover allows me to hover over something, it will load it, and then it will start playing it.
Knowing where to find learner support is essential to you.
and I've stopped that. But you'll notice I have a green dot. Now what that does is it says this tool is still on. So I could go in and hover over something very quickly. So if you're skimming down a document but you want it read to you when you find that part, Read on Hover would be a good tool to use. Clicking on it again removes the green dot and turns off the Read on Hover. Our next item is Enlarged Text. Notice the green dot. Enlarged text is great for students who have low vision or are a distracted reader. I'm going to highlight some information here, and you'll notice I have it turned on. I do have to click the listen.
There are other learning resources.
And you see that it appears at the bottom in large font, and your eye is drawn to this green stripe and not up here where it was originally. I have paused it. I can enlarge it, and I can shrink it, and I can restart it,
Sources around you.
and I can hit end. Now all end did was turn off the reading in that place. Notice the green dot right here. All that means is that even though I clicked stop before, it has not turned off the tool of enlarged text. As I go forward, anything I highlight would be read with the enlarged text. If I click on it again, it turns it off. The next tool is the page mask. When we click on it, you'll notice that we have a bright window. We can make that window larger or smaller and slide it up and down the page. This is similar to cutting a hole in a sheet of paper and dragging the paper up and down your textbook. This is a great tool for a distracted reader because it forces them to focus on a specific area. Also, if you have lazy eye movements where you tend to get offline as you move from one sentence or line to the next one, it helps you stay online because it does work like a reading ruler. You can click the X to turn it off. The next two tools I think of as working together. First, we have Translate. Now, Translate means I can take a word and translate it into another language. For instance, academic. Suppose I am a Spanish-speaking student and I don't know what academic is in English. So I click Translate it into Spanish. The first time you use it, you have to say, I understand this is Google Translate, and we see the word. I can play it, pause it, stop it, enlarge it, shrink it, and you can do this with a phrase also. I still don't know it, so I'm going to go back and highlight academic again and choose word lookup. With word lookup, I have to say, yes, I understand that I'm using this. It is an Oxford dictionary. We can see the two definitions. Again, you can play, pause, enlarge, or shrink it. But an Oxford dictionary does not put separate entries for plurals, ed, ing forms of the word when you're not changing the spelling of the root word. So if it doesn't find your word, leave off the suffix. Our last tool that we have is help. And help is excellent if you are working with a student who needs to use the screen reader version. If you scroll down, you see keyboard navigation. And in keyboard navigation, it tells you about access and modifier keys. Then with each tool within Web Reader, you'll see the access key is modifier plus S for settings and so on down. So it tells you how to access each tool.